Good morning, student. Today we are going to discuss crystal field theory. First of all, what are the limitations of valence bond theory? Valence bond theory basically give much more importance to the metal ion, while the role of ligand is ignored in most of the cases, which is the main drawback of your valence bond theory. It fails to explain the relative stability of complexes. Iron 3 can form octahedral as well as tetrahedral complexes. Chromium 3 only forms octahedral complexes. This point cannot be explained on the basis of valence bond theory. It fails to explain well-known tendency of copper to iron to form distorted octahedral complexes. It is very much important complexes even when all the six ligands are identical. This theory does not explain the magnetic behavior of complexes having metal ion D8 configurations such as nickel 2 plus, uh, Pb2 plus, etc. According to valence bond theory, all the square complexes of nickel 2 should be diamagnetic. However, the paramagnetic square complexes of Ni2 are also known. This is also one of the drawback your valence bond theory. According to valence bond theory, so you, tetramine copper 2 plus complex has one unpaired electron in outer 4pz orbital, so it should have high tendency to form tetramine copper 3 by losing that electron, but such a conversion never takes place. It fails to explain absorption spectra of complexes. Electronic transition, that is dd transition, is not possible between degenerated d orbital having same energy. Also number position intensity of absorption band of complexes cannot be explained on the basis of valence bond theory. It does not explain the kinetics of various reaction involving complexes. With these drawbacks, there is the need of new theory to overcome all these drawbacks of your valence bond theory. So before going deep into crystal field theory, we should have to know shapes of the d orbital. There are basically 5 d orbital, dz square, dxy, and dz square, dx square slash y square. These orbitals are on the axis. It is too much important. Students should learn this by heart. These two orbital, that is dz square and dx square minus y square orbital, is on the axis orbital, while these three orbital, that is d yz, dxz and dxy orbitals are, these orbital are in plane orbital, that is they are not present on the axis, they are in between the axis. Now crystal field theory, it is first given by Bethe in 1929. What are the points? What are the important points of crystal field theory? According to the crystal field theory, each negative ligand, just like your cyanide ligand, fluorine, chlorine, etc., is considered as a point charge. While the neutral ligands, examples are ammonia, water, etc., are considered as a point dipole. The dipole is formed by separation of charges either temporarily or permanently. These ligands approach the central metal ion with their negative poles facing positively charged central metal ion. The bonding between metal and ligand is purely electrostatic in nature. This is very much important point of your crystal field theory. According to crystal field theory, there is the bond between metal and your ligand are purely electrostatic. That bonds are not covalent bond. This is due to the negative charge on the ligand attracts the positive charge nucleus of the metal ion and repel electrons of the metal ions. There is no mixing of orbital of metal and ligand, hence there is no overlapping of orbital. It is also one of the important point of CFT. According to CFT, orbital does not mix or it does not overlap with each other. Now just see this diagram. It is one of the important diagram which help the concept of CFT very well. The spherical shape which is drawn here, it is similar to of your sponge ball. It is show the isolated metal ion. When this isolated metal ion is experience symmetrical force from all the direction, this metal ball, this sponge ball basically compress uh, from each and every direction in same manner. So ball size gets shrink, but it is in a spherical in nature. It is the hypothetical case, but in actuality, when the direction and the force which is exerted by the ligand on metal are uneven, and because of that the isolated metal ion can be shown like this. Now, splitting of d orbital in octahedral complexes. Now, how to know the given compound is octahedral or not? First of all, just see the number of ligands. If a number of ligand in a complex is 6, then that complex is simply a octahedral complexes. For example, in hexaquo titanium 3 plus and hexaquo iron 2 plus, these complexes are octahedral, example of octahedral complexes. Now just see here in this diagram, your central metal atom basically contain 5d orbitals. So these are the isolated atom, or these are the isolated atom of a metal which is shown here, and these are the 5d orbitals basically of your metal. When ligand approaches to central metal atom, all the energy of these orbitals are increases. This is the energy axis. Energy of these 5 orbital are increases, but they are in degenerated state. It is important again. They are in a degenerated state. Though the energy increases, these 5 orbital are in degenerated state. Means they have similar amount of energy in them. Now, when we say the splitting of d orbital in octahedral complexes, the ligand in octahedral complexes approaches from axes. The ligand which approach to the central metal atom, it is from the axis, and we know that there are 2 orbital basically. These two, there are these 2 orbitals, that is dz square and dx square minus y square orbital. They are on the axis orbital. Therefore, the energy of these 2 orbital get increases. In octahedral splitting, your ligands approaches through the axis, and because of that these are 2 d orbital, that is dx square minus y square and dz square, their energy get increases and they form one set. That set is known as Eg set of the orbital. Eg set contain 2 orbital, that is dx square minus y square and dz square, while these 3 orbital, that is dxy, dyz, dxz orbital, they are plane orbital. They are present in the plane. They are present in between the planes, in between the axes, and because of that their energy is decreases. So your these degenerated 5d orbitals are basically divided into two set. One set is higher in energy. That set contain dx square minus y square and dz square orbital. Another set which is lower in energy, which contain dxy, dyz, dxz orbital, and this is basically a crystal field splitting. The difference between your T2G set, this set is known as T2G set of orbital. The energy difference between T2G set and EG set, it is simply known as crystal field stabilization energy, or CFSE. The formula of CFSE for octahedral complexes is given by minus into bracket 0.4 multiplied by P minus 0.6 multiplied by Q, where P is number of electron present in your T2G orbital and Q is number of electron in EG orbital. Basically, your electron which are present in your T2G orbital, stabilize T2G orbital, its energy is equal to 0.4 del, while the electron which are present in your Ag set of orbital, their energy is equal to 0.6 del. Negative sign of CFSE indicates the energy is released. Now we are going to see splitting pattern of orbital in tetrahedral complexes. Now whenever we say the tetrahedral complexes, students should always remember in tetrahedral complexes ligands are approaches from the plane. They are not approaches to the central metal atom from the axes. Ligands always in tetrahedral complexes, all ligands orbital approaches to central metal atom in between the plane. So these are the 5d orbital of central metal atom, and when ligand are approaches to the central metal atom, energy of these 5d orbitals are increases. They are in this stage, they are in a degenerated state, means energy of all 5d orbitals are equal. Now when ligands are approaches in between the plane, this set of 5d orbital are again split up into two cells. Now we know that in between dxy, dyz, dxz, these three orbitals are basically present in between the plane. Therefore in tetrahedral complexes, energy of these three orbital get increases. It is simply known as T2 set of orbital, while energy of dx square minus y square and dz square orbital is decreases because they are present on the axes, and it is known as Eg set. It is known as E set of the orbital. Always remember that in a octahedral complexes we say that it is the Eg set, while this is the T2G set. While here we omit the subscript G because in tetrahedral complexes there is no centrosymmetry is present. So this is the diagram of your tetrahedral splitting of d orbitals. Now CFSE for tetrahedral complexes is given by minus into bracket 0.6 multiplied by Q minus 0.4 multiplied by P bracket close multiplied by del T, where del T is nothing but a T denotes their tetrahedral complex, where Q is number of electron present in your T2G orbital and P is number of electron present in E orbital. Also students should remember delta T, that is CFSE of tetrahedral complexes, is equal to 4 by 9 times of your CFSE of octahedral complexes. If we solve this 4 by 9, that is equal to 0.45 of your octahedral complexes. Now splitting of d orbital in tetragonal, that is distorted octahedral. Don't confuse this tetragonal word with tetrahedral. Tetragonal simply means that distorted octahedral. When I say distorted octahedral, it simply means that the number of ligands present in your complex is 6. It is also known as splitting of d orbital in tetragonal complexes, also known as elongation along the z axis. Now what going to be happen, just see this complex, that is hexaamine dichloroplatinum. In this complex, the d orbital of your central metal atom first get higher in energy due to ligands orbital coming close to them. Because of that, this energy d orbital energy are increases, but they are in a degenerated state here. Now when d orbitals of ligands are approached to the central metal atom, these d orbitals, set of d orbital, are further split up in this way. In this case, we see that the energy of dx square minus y square orbital is greater than the energy of dz square. It simply means that the ligand which are approaching from dz square orbital, it is far away as compared to ligands which are approaching from dx square minus y square orbital. It simply means that the ligands which are coming from this x and y axis, which are coming from x and y axes, they are coming closer to central metal atom as compared to your dz square orbital. That's why dz square or dx square minus y square orbital got somewhat high energy as compared to your dz square orbital. Same case is happen here, since this ligand coming from your dx coming from x and y axis. That's why the dxy orbital got slightly higher energy as compared to your dyz and dxz orbital. Now splitting of d orbital in square planar complexes. Square planar complexes is considered as extreme case of distorted octahedral complexes. It simply means that there is a no ligand present or come from your z axis. So best example of your square planar complex is tetracyanonickel 2. So in this complex there is no ligand coming from your z axis. That's why z axis dz square orbital further decreases its energy and decreases in their energy. So in this diagram we see that the highest the highest energy containing orbital is dx square minus y square, because all the orbitals come from your axes x and y, and because of that dxy orbital also increase their energy. So the next orbital, the second highest orbital which contain energy, second highest energy is dxy, then dz square, and at last it is dyz and dxz square. So just see here, delta sp, that is crystal field stabilization energy of your square planar complex, it is nearly 1.3 times of crystal field stabilization energy of your octahedral complexes. So just see here, this is the combined diagram in which we are going to show all the previous discussion which we discussed. This is what your central metal atom or d orbital of your central metal atom, and this is the case first, that is the diagram which is denoted by V. It is the case of your splitting of octahedral splitting d orbital octahedral splitting complexes. So in this case this d orbital are split up into your two set. First is Eg set, which contain dx square minus y square and dz square orbital, and second set, that is T2G set, contain dxy, dyz, dz square. It is the octahedral splitting of d orbital. In next case we see that this out of this two orbital, dx square minus y square and dz square orbital, dz square orbital are lower in energy. It simply means that orbital of ligand which are approaching from your dz square which is approaching from your z axis are far away. So it is a z elongation. It is also octahedral splitting. So in this case we see that dx square minus y square orbital increases in energy while dz square orbital decreases their energy. It is nothing but distorted octahedral case, or it is simply known as tetragonal splitting of d orbital. In next case we see that this dz square orbital is further decreases in energy. It simply means that there is no ligand present along your z axis. So it is the case, in this case we say that the highest orbital is dx square minus y square, second highest is dxy, third one is dz square, and last one is dyz and dxz. So this is the case for your square planar complexes. In left hand side, that is which is denoted by C, we see that the set of three orbital are high in energy. These orbital are basically the orbital which are present in the plane. So it is the case of your tetrahedral hydral distortion or tetrahedral splitting of the orbital. In next class, we are going to discuss factor affecting CFSE. Thank you very much.